What is up, guys? So Sports back in with another video, and I know I've been gone for like a month and a half, but let me explain myself really quickly. So, of course, you guys know the NBA was put to a halt on a hiatus because of coronavirus for about 3 months, and we just found out like about a week and a half ago that it was gonna pick back up again. And so I couldn't really post NBA content because I didn't want to post something and then the NBA start back up, and it just derailed just my whole video. So I just put a stop to that. So then, I did do my league series, but the file corrupted on the last episode because 2K20 is a horrible game. The game blue screen like 4 or 5 times. I don't even know how that's possible, how you can even blue screen on an offline mode. So I think I'm honestly done with 2K20 for the rest of the year. The game is trash. I don't even want to do it in my league series again. And then, okay, I was like, maybe I'll dabble in like the NBA, the NFL, because, the draft was there. My mic was broken, and during this pandemic I couldn't really find a mic because every microphone was super expensive and it'd take really long for it to get here. So I was able to find a new mic for a nice price, and that's the one I have here. Hopefully it's good. I don't know. We'll see after the recording, but I'm back. I want to make a new nice schedule. There's a lot of things I want to do now that the NBA is supposedly coming back on July 30th, hopefully, because as of today, players are talking about not going or whatever. But we'll see what happens with that. I do want to start a podcast, but all that's for the future. We're talking about right now. So I'm back. I want to make a new schedule, a schedule that I'm going to stick with. But I don't want to waste any more time. If you can see on the screen right now, I'm going to do a 2020 NBA mock draft. My first super early mock draft. I plan on probably doing a couple more, depending on if the season finishes out, what happens and stuff like that. But without further ado, let's just get right into it. So with the first overall pick, the Golden State Warriors, I have them selecting Anthony Edwards. I think that's probably the consensus number 1 overall pick if the Warriors end up with the number 1 overall pick. Either that or they look to trade the pick for a potential star. Maybe they could trade it for like a Bradley Beal. That's probably the only one that, would probably make sense. But even then, like, would they even do that? That probably is something they would do. Excuse me. I'm just trying to think of anybody else who could potentially be on the market, like a big time player, and I'm just drawing blanks. What if they, I'm not even gonna get into that, but I think Bradley Beal is probably the only one. I was gonna say like, Philly splitting up the Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, duo, but I just don't even think that'll happen. So, yeah, I don't want to really make this video too long, so I'm just gonna say, Anthony Edwards, number 1 to the Warriors. Can hopefully alleviate the pressure off of like Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. Will be interesting to see if he comes off the bench or starts. I think probably come off the bench. A rookie, you probably want to ease him in. And the Warriors are kind of, having a nice little young core going with, if they do get Anthony Edwards, Eric Pascal, who was pretty good to start the season and, slowed down typically as rookies do. Andrew Wiggins, I don't even know if you want to count him part of the young core or if you want to count him at all, because he's had plenty of time to step up and be great, and he just hasn't really done that. So yeah, Jordan Poole, but he's I didn't really like the pick then. I don't really like the pick now. But either way, first overall pick, Anthony Edwards. Second overall pick, my Cleveland Cavaliers. There's a multitude of directions the Cavs could go here. Personally, I would love the Cavs to trade down, with the potential team and acquire more picks this year, or even acquire picks next year when the draft is supposed to be amazing. Next year you're gonna have like Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham, Jonathan Kumanga, Isaiah Todd, just guys I'm trying to name off the top of my head, those type of guys. So that'll be interesting. But for the sake of this video, we'll just look strictly at this year's draft with no trades. Second overall, I know I preach stability, but I'm gonna have the Cavs taking a point guard 3 straight years. I'm gonna have them taking LaMelo Ball. I feel like they're just at the point of their rebuild where they just have to go talent over fit until they hit on a superstar. Now, they could have a superstar in the room already. Not even like a star. Okay, I don't want to say superstar, because superstar, I feel like superstars are probably the top 7 to 8 best guys in the league. But until they can hit on a star. And maybe they do have a star in Colin Sexton, who really lit it up in the last few or so games for the Cavaliers. But yeah, man, I just think this team has no direction, man. They traded for Andre Drummond, which I don't really understand. So why not, just go 3 for 3 on point guards and take LaMelo Ball? Just looking to add more star power. And the thing with LaMelo is, he is 6'7", at point guard, shooting guard, small forward. I don't even play him at small forward though, because I feel like that's kind of taken away from his potential right then and there. But It'll be interesting to see if he starts, because if he starts, what are you going to do with Darius Garland, who I think with an offseason to really work out and add strength and improve his game, he could be something. But then again, if you're bringing him off the bench, what does that do to his confidence? You know, how would he feel about that? You know, but then LaMelo Ball, do you want to bring him off the bench and then deal with his father and stuff? So I feel like, you know, with every choice comes some consequences. But either way, I feel like LaMelo Ball at 2 here is probably interesting. What I think the Cavs might do really is straight down, like I said, but we'll just have to see. Anyways, moving on, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Number 3, for the Minnesota Timberwolves, I have them taking Deni Awudia. I feel like that's probably a nice fit right there. You know, they do have Jarrett Culver, who is a wing, but he can come off the bench. He didn't really have too good of a rookie year. Having Deni Awudia to pair up alongside D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns, you're still going to have, like, Josh Okogie and Jarrett Culver. Of course, you recently acquired Malik Beasley, who played extremely well on the Timberwolves. I really want them to bring it back. You know, maybe the stretch is just like, you know, him, you know, I don't know, trying to get a bag. But then again, I think Malik Beasley was always like this. You know, he just never got the opportunities in Denver. They're going to have a nice little young core forming. Deni can be like a nice 3-and-D guy, maybe like an all-around guy-ish for them. I like the fit. I really like the fit. Moving on to number 4, the Atlanta Hawks. I'd have them selecting James Wiseman. I think even with Clint Capella, they'll still probably go for a center here. Having two athletic big men, John Collins and James Wiseman. I just wish, man, oh my goodness, if Wiseman was able to play more than 3 games this year, I feel like he'd be probably like a no-brain number 1 overall pick this year. But of course, you know, the question marks that come with him, with his work ethic. You know, some people are comparing him to like Hassan Whiteside, and you know how Whiteside is. Whiteside is cool and all, but you know, he's probably like a stat sheet stuffer, or someone who stat hunts. And you know how he is when he doesn't get the ball or whatever. But hopefully Wiseman is not that. He's extremely young, extremely athletic, should be pretty good in this league. Hopefully, you know. Number 5, the Detroit Pistons. I'm just gonna say best player available, Obi Toppin. Not by far, but I think, in my opinion, he was the best player in college this year. He is 22, but I feel like he's that one player that just keeps getting better and better and better. You moved on from Drummond. The Drummond era is now over. You're going to start a new era now, and hopefully Toppin can be that guy for you. You still have Sekou Doumbouya, Christian Wood, who really turned it on after the All-Star break. Luke Kennard. You have a nice little, you know, young core forming. I don't think none of those guys would be, you know, stars, maybe not even all-stars, but they could be nice rotational guys, great role players for you and stuff like that. And hopefully you can move on from Blake Griffin, potentially. We'll see what goes on with that. But moving on to number 6, the almighty New York Knicks. I have them taking a point guard here, the best point guard available after LaMelo Ball, in my opinion, Killian Hayes. I feel like he played well overseas. He should be nice, 6'5" point guard that can, you know, not really do it all, but, you know, he's nice facilitating abilities. Hopefully he can improve on his shot. Pairing him alongside RJ Barrett, that'd be a nice fit, really nice backcourt for the future right there. It'll be interesting to see what they do, because of course they do have these young guys that they haven't really been hitting on at all. You know, Mitchell Robinson has been good, but in short bursts and stuff. RJ Barrett, I can't even knock him on his rookie year, because I don't even feel like the Knicks gave him a fair chance. Did not surround him with shooters, and the veterans were kind of like, you know, opposing him. And so I don't even know what's going on in New York. But again, you know, 2021 is coming up. That's another year where the free agency class is supposed to be amazing. Could they look to move RJ and Killian Hayes to get another star player? I don't know what they're going to do. But either way, I have them selecting Killian Hayes right here. Fill a position of need. Moving on, number 7, the Chicago Bulls. I have them taking another point guard in Tyrese Halliburton. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Kobe White, because he did have that nice short burst of games this past season before everything, you know, kind of came crashing down. But I don't know if he's their point guard of the future. Really, he could be. I don't know though. I don't know. And Tyrese Halliburton is like 6'5", so he could play the 1 or the 2 even. And if you try to trade, you know, Zach LaVine, because Zach LaVine was really upset this year. You know, there are a lot of instances of him, you know, pouting on the court. But I feel like that was more Jim Boylan, who hopefully will be gone, than it was, you know, the team or whatever. But all in all, the Bulls had a pretty, you know, mediocre season. There was a team that I thought could maybe sneak in there for the 8th seed, but they didn't really do so. Wendell Carter dealt with injuries. Larry Markkinen had a very down year. I thought he'd, you know, take that next step. Zach LaVine was himself. You know, he played well. And, of course, the coaching was horrible. So, yeah, all in all, not really a good season from them. Tyrese Halliburton is my pick for them. I think he'd be a nice fit on that team. Moving on to number 8, the Charlotte Hornets, in my opinion, get a steal right here. At number 8, they draft Onikwa Okongwu, out of USC to pair alongside PJ Washington and Miles Bridges in the backcourt of Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham. A nice young core right there. A very underrated one. And I think the Hornets could be a very underrated team moving forward, because a lot of people going into this year, expected this team to bottom out and be horrible. Well, they weren't horrible. They were still, pretty bad. As you can see on the screen, they are 19 games under 500, but they aren't as bad as many people expected, including myself. I thought they'd win maybe 10 to 15 games this year. They shut me up real quick. So, finally, the Hornets have something going for them after years and years and years of, just mediocrity and just horrible choices by the front office and the management, selecting MGK, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, number 2, not being able to surround Kemba Walker with the proper talent to actually compete. It looks like they finally have something going for themselves. So that's nice to see from Michael Jordan and the Charlotte Hornets. Moving on to number 9, the Washington Wizards. Another very interesting team, a team that's dealt with injury this year. Of course, John Wall was injured for the entire year. He has stated that he is healthy now, so I probably think they'll probably run it back at least once, or they could, look to trade up and, maybe look to just go on a full-on rebuild. But either way, for them at number 9, I have them taking Devin Vassell, a nice 3-and-D player to pair alongside John Wall and Bradley Beal. I think they'll probably run it back at least one more year, try to see if they can make some noise in that Eastern Conference. Besides John Wall and Bradley Beal, they have Davis Bertans. You have an athletic center in Thomas Bryant. You still have Rui Hachimura, who you drafted this past year, who actually played, he played well. Off the bench, Ish Smith, Troy Brown Jr. They have a nice collection of players, and I feel like Devin Vassell, his three-point shooting, his defense is much needed on this team, especially at the wing position. Man, he should do wonders for them, whether he starts or comes off the bench. I don't know. They could get kind of creative with him and stuff like that. I'm excited to see what the Wizards do next year with a healthy John Wall. That's probably going to be one of my teams to watch moving forward. Moving on to number 10, the Phoenix Suns. I have them selecting probably the best point guard remaining on my board, Cole Anthony, who had a pretty disappointing season at UNC. I think a lot of people, including myself, expected him to play a lot better. I thought if he did, I thought he was going into this year, he's probably like a top 3 pick, in my opinion. A lot of people were saying, but he slid far. Honestly, I felt like he probably should have came back to UNC and probably stayed another season. But hey, it was his decision to come out. I think he'll still definitely get drafted, but I don't think he'll probably get as drafted as he would have liked. But number 10, the Suns get an athletic point guard who can hopefully be the point guard of the future. They've been searching for that for a while now. They tried many things, like Tyler Johnson and Jamal Crawford were point guards at once. And it's funny because they were a team that had an overabundance of point guards. You remember a few years back, actually several years back, I think at this point, it was like 2013, 2014 or something like that, when the Suns were actually pretty good. They had that point guard trio of Isaiah Thomas and Eric Bledsoe and Goran Dragic. Now, they're really, really looking for one. And they might have one currently in Ricky Rubio, but a nice veteran presence. We can just talk about their team as a whole. Of course, Devin Booker was an all-star this year. Should have been voted in the first time. He shouldn't have been, an injury replacement or whatever, but he did his thing. DeAndre Ayton, that pairing hopefully can do wonders. You have Kelly Oubre Jr. and Cameron Johnson, who they drafted last season. Mikal Bridges, Aaron Baines, who can forget the GOAT? If you follow that Aaron Baines account on Twitter, it's a funny meme page or whatever. But, Cole Anthony hopefully can be the point guard of the future for them. Nice pick, in my opinion. Moving on to number 11, the San Antonio Spurs take Aaron Naismith. And now, Aaron Naismith, I don't watch too much hoops, too much college basketball. I watch a lot of hoops, a lot of NBA, but I don't watch too much college basketball. So I was kind of, it kind of amazed me that like Aaron Naismith had a very, very good college season, but a lot of people don't have him going like in the top 5 or the top 10. I'm not really too sure why, because at Vanderbilt he put up like 23 points per game or something crazy like that, and he shot extremely well. It's not even like he played like 5 games like a Darius Garland. He played in 14 games, which still isn't a lot, but of course the season was cut short. 23 points, 4.9 rebounds, shot 52% from 3 on 8 attempts per game. That's very good. I think this would be a very good shooting guard slash small forward pick for the San Antonio Spurs. Concerning that DeMar DeRozan is I think he's a free agent next year, this year, or is he a free agent this year? I think he may have a player option that is to accept or decline. I'm not too sure, but as they look to move on from this DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge era, nice pick. Again, 52% from 3 on 8 attempts. He should do wonders spacing the floor for them and giving more space for guys like DeMar DeRozan and DeJounte Murray to create and, do their thing. But either way, at 11, Aaron Naismith, I actually really do like that pick for them, honestly. Moving on, number 12, the Sacramento Kings. I have to take Isaac Okoro. Now, I know what you guys are saying. How could Isaac Okoro fall to 12? I just feel like even though his defense is amazing, his offensive limitations really, really hurt him. Like, he cannot shoot. He cannot facilitate, really. It's going to be, interesting to see what he does in his career, but I think probably he'll be like a role player-ish type of guy. Hopefully he can be like a nice 3-and-D player, if that even, for the Kings. But even the Kings, another team that are doing their thing as my battery is about to die, so I got to wrap this up. But yeah, Isaac Okoro, pairing him alongside De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley. He should slide right in at that 3 spot off the bench. They could have Bogdanovich if they bring him back. You still have Rashawn Holmes, who's great. Harry Giles is great. I really do like their team, and hopefully they can make a nice playoff push next year if everybody stays healthy, if they make the right moves, and if they get a new coach, because Luke Walton is not it. Moving on, the last 2 picks of the lottery. The New Orleans Pelicans, Tyrese Maxey. I feel like this is a risky type of pick, and I feel like this is a risk that the Pelicans can take. They have an overabundance of young talent on the team. Your big 3, I guess, of young guys in Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and of course Zion Williamson. That's your nice core group of guys. If they can stay healthy, man, that is going to be an amazing trio. And then you got Josh Hart, Nicole Alexander-Walker, Jackson Hayes, even the veterans on the team, J.J. Redick, Drew Holiday, Derek Favors. That team is nice. So taking a risk on a guy like Tyrese Maxey, who did, okay at Kentucky, if you guys hit on that pick, that's going to be a very, very, very nice selection. And then the last pick of the lottery, the Portland Trailblazers, I have them selecting Jaden McDaniels. Again, another team that just probably had to go for risk over, maybe like going over like a safe pick, which, they could, like a Josh Green or something, or a better shooter. I'm trying to just think off the top of my head. Maybe like a Jalen Smith or something. I don't know, but I feel like Jaden McDaniels, even though he did not play well at all at Washington, he's 6'10", has guard handles, has drawn some comparisons kind of to Brandon Ingram. If you hit, again, another pick like that could really, propel you up in the standings, considering the fact that CJ McCollum and, Damian Lillard, they're getting up there in age, So, you're going to have to start doing some magic. If you want Lillard to, get a ring potentially, you're going to have to take these, these big boy, what's the word? Like, you're going to have to take these big boy shots, I guess. You're going to have to just, go all out or whatever. But either way, yeah. Jaden McDaniels is the last pick of the lottery, in my opinion. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. Please like and sub and share with your friends. I believe we are 1 sub off of 60 subs. So if you could share with your friends or anything, that'd be great. I'm back. I'm going to try my hardest once again to get a good little, schedule going. I do want to make a podcast, as I stated earlier, but we'll see what happens with that. I will see you guys later. I'm out. Peace.